everyone, I'm Bea, and welcome back to Read in Rome. Can you guess where I am? I'm at an art gallery. I'm checking out some local artwork. Look at this one. The description reads, "A young girl smiles and holds an umbrella to shelter her little sister from the rain. They're wearing neat, old-fashioned clothes." What can you tell about the girl with the umbrella just from the picture and description? She's young and looks happy, and she's holding an umbrella for her sister, which is nice of her. Her neat, traditional clothes also help me imagine what kind of life she has. By noticing what the girl looks like and what she's doing, we get an idea of who she is. Authors do that in stories too. They use their words to help readers understand the characters. We'll explore this idea today. Let's head back to the studio. So, just like artists show us what people are like in paintings, authors do the same with characters in stories. You probably remember that a character is a person, animal, creature, or even an object in a story. They make choices, face problems, and move the story forward. But how do we figure out what kind of characters they are? One way is by looking at their outer world. What do you think outer world means? It refers to the things we can see or notice about characters from the outside, like we're standing nearby the character watching. It includes what characters look like and what they do, which helps readers picture the characters more clearly. I'll show you what I mean with an example. Jasper was a little gray cat with a torn ear and dusty fur who called the alleyway his home. When big dogs chased the kittens, Jasper stepped in. He arched his back, hissed loudly, and stood firm until the bullies backed off. What details tell readers what Jasper looks like? Little gray cat, torn ear, and dusty fur help us picture a tiny, scruffy cat. These details are called external traits. An external trait describes a character's physical appearance, like their eye color, size, or clothes. What other details help readers picture Jasper? We can look at Jasper's actions. When we talk about actions, we're referring to what characters do or how they behave. In this text, Jasper protects the kittens from the dogs by arching his back, hissing loudly, and standing firmly. These actions, along with his external traits, help us picture what he's like and understand his role. A role is the part a character plays in the story, kind of like their job or purpose. Characters can have different roles depending on what they do. For example, some characters cause problems and might even be called bad guys or villains. Others save the day or stand up for what's right, kind of like heroes. Some help or take care of others, and some are funny or play sneaky tricks. In this text, we learn that Jasper protects and saves kittens from dogs. So what kind of role does he play? We can guess that he's a character who saves others and stands up for what's right, like a hero. Now, we're ready to practice what we've learned with two other characters. Let's read part of a new story. Everyone on Milton Lane kept an eye on Mr. Luton. He was tall, skinny, and always dressed in a black and white suit. As he stomped through the neighborhood, his black boots clicked loudly on the pavement. He took letters from mailboxes, stole packages from doorsteps, and snipped flowers from gardens. He only ever smiled when he was causing trouble. Wow, there are a lot of details about Mr. Luton. Take a second to imagine what he looks like. What did you picture? The author includes external traits that help us imagine him, so let's find them. We need to search for details related to Mr. Luton's appearance. Check this out. The author writes, he's tall and skinny, and dressed in a black and white suit. We can also look for details about how he sounds. What details can you find? He wears black boots that make a loud noise when he walks. What about his role in the story? Let's look at his actions to figure it out. He takes letters from mailboxes, steals packages, snips flowers, and only smiles when he's causing trouble. What do these details tell us about what type of person Mr. Luton is? These details show us that his role is probably someone who causes problems. In fact, he might even be the villain. Authors don't always tell us a character's role directly, but they usually give us enough details to help us make a good guess. Ready for the next part of the story? Let's learn about another character. Across the lane lived Miss Jenkins. She was small and round, with rosy cheeks and a soft voice. Her clothes were always cheerful, from bright sweaters and rainbow scarves to frilly skirts. Miss Jenkins never left the house without a basket filled with things like bandages, biscuits, and buttons, just in case someone needed help. She smiled and greeted everyone as they walked by, even grumpy people like Mr. Luton. Miss Jenkins seems pretty different from Mr. Luton. Let's take a closer look at her outer world. What external traits can you spot? Pause the video to highlight 3 external traits that describe Miss Jenkins. Remember, look for descriptions about her physical appearance and how she sounds. Let's check. Miss Jenkins is small and round, and she has rosy cheeks and a soft voice. Her clothes are described as cheerful with bright sweaters, rainbow scarves, and frilly skirts. These external traits help us picture her clearly. Now, let's think about Miss Jenkins' actions to figure out her role. Pause the video to underline at least one action that Miss Jenkins does. How'd you do? Here's an action. Miss Jenkins never leaves the house without her basket full of helpful items. And here's another one. Miss Jenkins always smiles and greets others as they walk by. Now that we know more about Miss Jenkins, what do you think her role is? Is Miss Jenkins the type of character to play funny tricks, take care of others, or save people from danger? Pause the video to decide. Then write 1 to 2 sentences explaining your choice. What do you think? Well, she carries a basket of useful items and smiles and greets everyone, even grumpy Mr. Luton. So Miss Jenkins most likely plays the role of someone who takes care of others. But we can't be certain. Sometimes we need more information before we can really understand a character. They might seem one way at the beginning, but change later in the story. Or the author might reveal new details about a character as the story goes on. Just like in real life, characters can grow, change, or surprise us. And that's part of what makes stories so interesting. Today, we learned that authors give us clues about characters through their external traits, what they look like, and their actions, what they do. These outer world details help us understand what kind of character they are and what role they might play in the story. Next time you're reading a story, focus on the characters' outer worlds so you can get to know them better. And remember, where there are words, there's a world to explore. See you next time.
Hey, hey.